Hey Denora, Jessica from Peterson SEO. Thank you so much for speaking with me today and accepting this free video. So today I just want to walk through just a few tips that's really going to help your guys' online performance and help you get more of those jobs coming in. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. When somebody does their search, they're going to do a search in Google. They'll put their keywords in here, and there's going to be three spots that you guys can really own. Okay, that's going to be your cost per click ads, as well as your local service ads here. About 10% of people will click through on ads. And then the second, or one of the most important spots here, is your Google business profile. I did notice in Renton, you guys are in the top three, so that's awesome. You want to be in the top three because, like I said, at least 30% of people will come straight here and they're going to click to your website or click to call you guys. In order to be in the top three or maintain that top three position, there are several factors. One of the most important is going to be citations, and that's simply listing your business name, address, phone number, and website on a variety of directories. And then making sure that it's fully optimized, that your categories are listed. Like this one here doesn't have any categories, so you want to make sure that that your profile is fully optimized. You're adding photos, doing updates every week, etc., to make sure that you're maintaining that position. But the number one most important here is going to be this organic section here. You want to be here because 60 to 70% of people will skip everything else and they're going to come straight to your website. So this is where you want to be. So the number one competitor in Seattle for water damage is going to be Fisher Restoration. But before we get to them, let's jump back over to your website. So you guys have a nice, clean looking website. Looks really good. The logo looks good. I love that you have this click to call phone number, which is awesome. Your website is secure. You have separate service pages for each of your services, which is awesome. You absolutely have to have this so that you can be targeting the proper local keywords on each of these pages. You do want to make sure all pages have original content. And I see here that you have the Seattle water damage restoration keyword, which is awesome, and that you're serving 3 counties. So one of the first things I will say, if you want to dominate in your area, your website can be like a virtual ATM machine if it is optimized properly. So you really need to have separate service area pages for each of the major cities in these counties, targeting those services and keywords so that you can be found when people in each of those communities are looking for your services. So like I said, the website looks really good. What I did notice, there's just a very little bit of content. And although your website looks really nice and clean, Google unfortunately does not rank websites based on appearance. It is based on content. Content is key, and you do need a lot of content. You're always going to need more content than your competitors. But what used to work a year or two ago doesn't even work anymore, because not just SEO that we have to worry about, but now we have to worry about AEO, which is Ask Engine Optimization. That's your mobile devices, your Siris, Alexas, ChatGPT. People don't just search terms anymore like water damage restoration. Now they're searching questions. So your content needs to be built around those keywords, built around those questions, and it really needs to speak to the customers. No longer should it just be informational, but it's supposed to be conversational, answering their questions, helping them to relate. It's going to be really important. Call to actions on every page. I noticed at the bottom you do have a form, but I would put that at the top. You want to make it as easy as possible for customers to click through, send a message, or call you. They're not going to do the work. So if it's not here, they're just going to bounce. Another thing for restoration companies is having things like 24/7, um, 45 minutes to a call. Those type of things are going to help get more click-throughs as well. Um, if we look at your competitor, they also have a nice clean website, um, click to call information. They have the separate service pages, but they also have separate service area pages. And because they have all of these service area pages, they're able to target the keywords in those areas. And remember, there's a lot of variations of keywords. So it could be Seattle water damage Seattle, and you want to capitalize on that. And the way to do that is by having the proper amount of content and repetition. You're going to need those keywords repeated at least 3 times to even get indexed. So that's really, really important. So you're going to want to enhance your content strategy on your website and then support that with SEO, because without the SEO, you're really not going to rank. So definitely need to work on your keyword strategy and content strategy. That's going to help a lot. Over here, this is Ahrefs. This is a tool that helps us analyze how a website is performing. As you can see here, you have a score of a 3.4 out of 100 in Google's trust flow. And that means Google doesn't really trust your website. And that's because it has a lack of content, a lack of relatability, and because of your backlinks and referring domains. So you only get credit for 1 backlink per referring domain. And a referring domain is any website that will provide your site with a link from their site to your site. And the backlink is just that physical link. And so you have a ton of spammy links. And to make it make a little bit more sense, if you think of a referring domain as like a power source and you want to use your favorite tool, so you're going to have to plug that into the power source. And then that cord that goes from your tool to the power source is that backlink. So in order to fire up your tool, you got to have those referring domains and backlinks. And that's what's giving your website the power. Okay, now you have been indexed for over 180 keywords, and you are getting about 300 people on average to your website, which is great. But if we take a look here at the keywords, there's 10 spots per page on Google, so you are ranking for quite a few of your local fire related keywords. But when it comes down to some where you have more volume, more traffic, your water damage keywords, you are on page 2, 3, and further back. And I noticed that a lot of these keywords for local are way back there, or you have a lot of like national. This one here, fire water restoration, is a national keyword that has 870 volume per month. And you are getting 93 people to your website on that, but unfortunately, that's not local traffic. So you really want to focus on those local keywords. And when we were looking at your backlink strategy, obviously you do have backlinks going on. And so you want to be going after those do follow backlinks. And what I've noticed, if we look at this anchor text here, it's all website branded naked URLs. Find out more, but you're not going after keywords. So you need that power behind those keywords to really give you that boost. Whereas if we look at your competitor, they have a 19 out of 100, and they have a lot less backlinks and referring domains, yet they have more keywords and more traffic. It's because they have those pages, they have that content. And when we look at those keywords here, you can see that they are at the top for Seattle, Bellevue, several other cities, and going after those big money keywords, that big traffic. So they're getting that traffic because of that content and because of their linking strategy. So hopefully you found this video to be helpful and informational. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.